Hello and welcome back to the YouTube channel. MFJJ here talking about OMP Craddle Vises. These are the vises that we use in our shop every day to set levels and work on bows. We thought we'd give you a little review on them. They make 3 different vises and we're going to talk about 2 of them in this video, and then we'll make another video about the other. So they make what they call the original Craddle 360 bow vise, and then they make the Craddle wide limb bow vise. And the difference is a relatively simple one. So here's the original. And it is, I want to say they're 220 bucks, somewhere around there. I mean, it's a good chunk of money for a leveling vise, but it also holds your bow. So if you want to store your bow or leave it sitting in something, it's actually kind of a cool way to leave it. But the difference between the original, right, and the wide limb, here that I got on the counter, is literally just that. It's wider here. So most of the modern bows have a wider footprint of how wide the limb set is. So they made a wider limb bracket for it. Now, you can put a wide limb in here. It just moves around a little bit more, so you got to be a little more careful when you're trying to level it to make sure you're holding it effectively. If you got the extra 80 bucks, because this is 300 bucks if I remember right, it's worth it to jump up to the wide limb. But you know, if you're on a budget and you're just trying to work on your bow, this will work. In fact, we used a narrow for like a year after they came out with this. Now we've got about 4 of these in the shop now. For a while we had 1 or 2, and they just became so handy for a couple of different reasons. I'm not going to set this up because these work exactly the same. It's just wider or narrower. So I'm going to just showing you that, set that down. We'll use this as an example. You just loosen your knob here. Put both of your limbs on the little pads that are on there and tighten it down. And now they're both in the vise. Now I've just got this clamped to the counter. I would strongly encourage you to screw this to your counter and leave it permanently. This is just for showing it to you purposes. But a couple of nice things you can do with this is if you are working on your bow and you set it up correctly, you can turn it to where your bow's down and work on a string loop or tie a peep in or grab onto your bow, rotate it whichever way you want. You want to change your modules out or get at your module end, you can also set it down again, get at it. So it holds your bow in a lot of different ways for just the everyday working on your bow, but what we primarily use them for is leveling a sight, which I neglected to grab a sight. So for today's purposes, we're just going to show you how to level a sight on here. This is my modified dual track sight that I made the dovetail myself. Those should be out here come the end of the month, hopefully. If all things go well. I'm going to set this where I want it and tighten it down and then get some levels on here for you. There we go. All right. So if you're going to be adjusting your sight for level and you're going to use a vise, I strongly encourage, these are Easton's XL stubbies, if I remember right, and they're short on the end, so you can get into places where there's screws, where there's stuff in the way. If you have an XL sight, these are kind of a lifesaver because the screws are in awkward spots. Black Gold does a decent job of getting the screws where you can get at them, but a lot of times once it's already bolted onto a bow, it's hard to get a wrench in here. So either this or the Bondis Dubros screw sets that have handles on them, little knurled ends. I think we have those on our website too. We'll put a link below for this or that. If you're setting your sight, it's a lot easier than one of these fellas. So in order to get your sight level, first thing you need to do is put your string level on it and then pull the lever here and then move the bubbles to where you see them. Now this takes a little bit of finesse to get it to where it's in between the bubbles. Sometimes it can take a bit to get a little lucky and it stops, and then you can tighten it down. But once you've done that, let me get a good shot of that, now the bow's sitting on a level plane. So everything else that you adjust should be level if you're sitting level like that. So at this point, if you're going to put a string loop or whatnot on, that's where you put your arrow in and put a level on the arrow and pick your knock height because it's square to the string. That's what you're looking for. But for the sight, I like to use the Gen 2 Hamskea level to clamp onto the sight so I know what the rail is doing. And what I mean by the rail, if your sight has an adjustable rail, which most movable sights do, it's this part that moves like this. And if you look at that bubble and look at that bubble, you can see the rail itself is off a little bit. So ignoring this bubble for now, just pay attention to the rail here, and we're going to adjust that accordingly. Now this black gold has a micro adjust, so we can loosen the screw and drive it straight. So you'd loosen your bottom screw in this example. There you go. And then take your small, I'm going to come around this side, dude. I'll hit you. With that light right in my eyes, I can't see. There we go. And drive it to where the bubble reads level. And I'm going the wrong way. There you go. Nope, I was going the right way. No, I'm not. I'll get it figured out one of these times. There we go. So now, the rail and the bubble match. So that's your first axis, or the rail that moves up and down on a sliding sight. You set that first. And then once you've got that, you just make the bubble in your scope match the bubble on the rail, and you're good to go. It's really simple if you have the right tools. If you don't have the right tools, you'll get out to a distance and your left to right will be off. So that's why this is really important and really critical for the home guy if you're actually going to work on your own bow and try to put on your own sight and try to get it leveled. So those Vises, well, they've been out like 5-6 years, and well, it might be more than that actually. We use the piss out of them. We use them every day. I think we've probably worn out like 7 or 8 of them because we use them so much. It's something that's really handy that we really like, and we never really touched on it or talked about it. And then I just got the Micro Tune one, and it came in last year, but they weren't really shipping, so I didn't mess with them. Next video you see from us will be that one with me learning how it works, because I haven't even used it yet. So head on over to podiumarcher.com for all your archery needs, like maybe one of these, maybe one of those, or just check it out. Hit like, hit subscribe, keep coming back. Like the comments down below. If there's stuff you want to hear us talk about, put it in the comments. I read them. I may not reply to all of them because there's a lot, and I'm a very busy person, but I do look at them, and if there's, I get ideas for videos from there frequently. So please put them in there. Love to see the feedback. Love to see the comments. Make sure to subscribe and keep following along, and subscribe to the Instagram as well, because we're going to start doing some giveaways, and you'll have to be subscribed to do that, and I imagine you might want some free stuff. So I'd like to give it to you. Thanks for checking us out.